So continuing in the theme of kind of making do, this is how I'm boiling water for tea this morning. My parents have this crazy futuristic stove that it took me about 10 minutes to figure out how to turn on. Yeah, I got my cup. So today I was gonna put my notes on Tumblr because I said I would, but I think I might just like kind of like read the highlights because I think that might be funnier. And then I might like post a picture. I like that idea. And then I might post a picture of like the notes. Post a picture under it. Yeah. This is like crazy because like I'm trying to make legitimate connections with people, which is working, and I've like met a lot of people that I really like and are really nice, and like, you know, it feels like nice to have an online community, but at the same time I know it's for this research thing. So it's really hard to kind of keep that. I'm like of two minds about it. I don't know. I probably won't put this in because it'll drive them away, and I'm aware of that. Yeah, delicate balancing act, but you know, it's nothing like actual people who are actual artists have to keep up. I also have trouble with going like, hey, go buy my art, because I don't think that I have the credentials to do anything, even though I have a history degree, which is basically a research degree. So I am qualified for this. I don't know. Sometimes I think about reaching out to like the actual people that I'm actually doing research about, but I'm like scared because they'll think I'm just like some little girl who doesn't know what I'm talking about, and then I'm like talking shit, and they'll like talking shit, talking nonsense, not like talking bad about anyone. Like that's what I mean by talking shit. But yeah. Like what if I got an interview for this? Even if the interview is just them being like, girl, what are you talking about? Or being like, okay, I kind of see where you're coming from, but maybe calm down. Or like, what would be funny is like, it's an act, you know that, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know what acting is. Thank you, actor. But yeah, I don't know. Just kind of thinking out loud to myself here in this echoing dining room. Yeah. So I am what? 8 minutes into this, and I'm 2 pages into notes, but my notes so far just kind of consist of like monkeys references, which on the one hand is great because that's what I thought going into this, but on the second hand it's just like these are gonna be really boring notes because it's just stuff that we already knew, but you know, so gonna keep going. Like I know what the solution is to go to the doctor and get a prescription, but I don't know, it feels like if I did that, then I would just have been sad for nothing, and that's so shameful. I can't do it. Because if there's one thing I feel more strongly than sadness, it's shame. Do you guys like the setup with the mirror? I'm pretty proud of it. It's a reference. Okay, so I just finished watching What 2013 and Make Happy 2016, and I was just gonna kind of read out some of the notes that I took, like the highlights, because I think they're funny, and I think I take like really funny notes. Like I've always kind of thought that, like I would read my notebooks from college to my friends, and that's why none of them hang out with me anymore. So from What, I came up with 2 more characters for like the stage performances, because as we all know, in Inside there are 4 characters that I talk about, like everyone knows what they are, and they're not just like a product of my own deranged mind. So I'm like debating, because I'm like, I don't know if that's like a secret, but it's not a secret. I've been talking about it on Tumblr for like a year now. But okay, so the 2 new characters from the actual in-person theater comedy shows are the narrator, who is always unseen, so like the voices, all the voices, it doesn't matter if it's the robot woman, the robot man, or himself recorded. All of the voices are the narrator, and in the first one, in What, the narrator's very deprecating. The narrator hates him and thinks he's annoying, and you know, all that good stuff. We all have a narrator. And then the one who's actually on stage is, I call him the hero, because I just think that's so sweet and kind of sad, and it reminds me of Peter Tork. So there's the narrator and the hero, or the two characters in the... There's a third character. Hi, Hunter. There's a third character. And you guys know who they are. You see them in the mirror all the time. Okay. So he yodels as a baby. E-I-E-I-O. What is that if not yodeling? We're teaching our children how to yodel. Wake up, people. He's isolated himself for 5 years in the pursuit of comedy. We know where that's going. We've been here before, is what I say. Now you're contractually obligated, but what did you give him in return, Mr. Zero? And then I talk about how he looks like a little baby for like 5 lines. I'm like, oh, who is this child? He looks like my high school friends, you know. There's a lot of sexuality as a joke in this one. Hunter, I'm sorry. There's a lot of usage of sexuality as a joke, and I don't really get that, but I think it was kind of more of a product of its time. I'm hoping. The narrator is embarrassed by the hero. Like, he calls him names and, like, says he's annoying and, like, berates him in front of the audience. Interesting. And it's definitely the calling himself out first as a defense mechanism before anyone else can call him out. He's like, oh, well, I called myself out as the narrator, so why are you... We know. So his theme in his work at this point, as an artist, is everyone hating what he's doing, and him doing it anyway. Like, you see this in Zack Stone every single scene, where everyone hates what he's doing and, like, wants him to stop, but he's like, I'm great, and I'm gonna do it anyway. Where it's like, yeah, I'm annoying, but I'm good at it, which is very... We'll get to that. There's a connection there. There is a commentary on the overproduction of industry shit through the vessel of self-deprecation, classic hero. Like, he's calling himself out for, like, the auto-tune before the critics can, you know. And then I wrote lampshading. This is lampshading, right? And then, with a star under that, I would just have, yes. Not the low-rise jeans, bro. Segues are weird. Lampshading. He's just a guy. He's just a dude. Is it a crime for a little guy who's 6'5" to love attention? No. I was getting a lot of philosophy tube theater major vibes from that. Like, a lot. And I think he was a theater kid, so that checks out. Okay, here... Sometimes even the hero is like, bro, who writes this stuff? Derogatory. And then I have a little note here about, I'm sorry he looks like such a little baby. The Massachusetts townie accent is out and proud in this one. I love Rome. And he does like a linking R, which is when he says, I saw a, that kind of thing, which is just part of his accent. Where my accent would put a glottal stop there. My accent loves glottal stops, but I love regional accents, so I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Hurt yourself before the mob can, but play it off as confidence. That's very important. I am saying offensive things because they make people laugh. Isn't that funny? Does it make me feel bad about myself? Who cares? This is the character, tied to his name, to his image, to his body. This was the deal. And then what I thought was like, wow, that's interesting, is there's like a little meta joke about the video format, which is really cool because, you know, like, he probably had a lot of fun doing that. Like, I would have had a lot of fun doing that. If I knew how to be clever doing this, I would. Okay. And then at the point where he's like, why am I pretending I'm reading a script? I have it memorized. Why am I lying to you? It's like, it's an act. I have a script memorized. This is performance art. Is it lowbrow? Yes. Is it still art? Well, you're here. And then I say, he loves explaining the joke, which is fair. I love doing that too, and I am also terrified of my words being misconstrued. Wow, this hero kid is so relatable. Do you think that's related to the millions of dollars that he has? Also, he's a smartass about being the young one. I wonder if this is set up for a panic disorder about, like, age and fading relevance. Pocket glitter, another classic, and then he turns it meta, and it's funny. Breaking news, I know, call the fire brigade. The joke is that he's a loser. Also a genius. Also he's Jesus. and Judas. Like, whoever he is, good or bad or even just annoying, he's important enough to be in the book. I wonder if this is set up for a panic disorder about being irrelevant. Catholicism reference. Nice. I am not Catholic. Like, like Richard Nixon voice, I am not a Catholic. They're just my home team. The joke is that he has anxiety. Mike Nesmith voice. Ooh, now that hurt. And I might insert the clip right there, and I might just have me doing my award-winning Mike Nesmith impression. Because I know you guys love it. You guys. Who am I talking to? 2 people watching this? Like, I want to say your online names to freak you out, but I think that might be too far. Like, do you want to know how I, like, actually envision you guys? Tumblr, I'm talking to my Tumblr girls right now. And I know that you're not all girls. I know that. But I'm saying it like a gender neutral, like, term of endearment. If this bothers you, let me know. I'll stop. But, like, usually I have in my head, it's like the name that you want to be called and then your URL. So, like, I'm sorry for calling you out, but, like, Tumblr user, my best friend on Tumblr, she's gonna be like, I don't even know who you are. No, but I call her, like, and stuff like that. Like, for me, I'm Nora rig-a-rendal, you know? I'm trying to think of someone. I'm so sorry. That is like, anyone else, I feel like I'm gonna mess up their names because I send her asks a lot. I annoy her. I know that. Anyway, back to the plot. The joke is that he has anxiety and the narrator hates that about him, but not enough not to monetize it. Yeah, okay. We all saw the right brain, left brain thing all over Tumblr in 2014. We know it. And then I say, we're here for inside parallels, not to remember that amethyst pearl AMV. And then there, with the right brain, left brain thing, it's a very, like, ContraPoints thing to me, where it seems almost like he's trying to do, like, a Socratic dialogue between aspects of himself, which is, I love that. I love ContraPoints, and I love this guy. It's like Dionysus versus Apollo, where it's like, you know, like one is just like wild and free and the other one is very meticulous and logical. And then I say, wow, this kid's good. Also, he refers to the character of the hero as him, not me, not us, him. Both characters say him, which is, it's interesting about when you think about the depersonalization. I love depersonalization as a theme. It's one of my favorites. And I wonder if that says something about me. We're not here for me. We're here for this guy. Don't talk about me. Okay. I say, this is pretty good. It's the self-blame and self-pity while also being completely dissociated from the full self. And hey, people laugh at this. Why not pretend it's half joking instead of half fabricated exaggeration? But in the end, he's all he's got, so wrap it up in a nice monetizable little bow and look, happy ending. And then I say something that I'm gonna have to redact because it's too on the nose, and it also gives away the whole purpose of my big overarching project, which I find I have a problem with because I want to say these things so bad because they fit so well, but I need to save them to, like, make a point in the big video. And then this actually got me, where it was like a, hey, self, I love you. I know. That's like, okay, he's gonna be okay. You know, like, that's pretty good. The next line I have, he hates when it all comes back to the velvet underground. That is an inside joke with me and about 2 other people from high school. I'm sorry. And then he says, like, when I walk into a party, people call me the long, straight Tetris piece because, finally, this guy, it's a joke. It's just a silly little throwaway joke. But what I thought was really cool, this is after I named the 2 new characters for the live shows. And the long, straight Tetris pieces they have names. And that one is named Hero. And then he literally says, it's an act. And I wrote, babe, who are you really worried is going to forget? No, it's the audience. Some people are legitimately like that. God's perspective I call the patented Bobby B and now I'm gonna make a point moment. I don't know why I called him Bobby. And then I wrote, oh my god, he can't hit the low notes yet. Baby boy. Evil. And then he does a song called Andy the Frog. And one thing about Bo Burnham is he's gonna name a character Andy. And then I wrote, I'd say that this guy is the Princess Diana of Massachusetts comedians, but we all know I'd be lying. It's theater etiquette behavior. It's very, like, people who have a background in theater will thank the audience. The sun is in my face. Like me, I don't have a theater background, so I'm not gonna say shit to you guys. But thank you for being here and thank you for watching me. It really means a lot, your support. And then I just wrote the word oh, and then on the next line, repeat stuff. And then that song where it's the, you know, everyone knows it, it's the We Think We Know You. And it's very, we're gonna talk about it a lot later, so I can't say much right now, but I noticed it and I took notes on it, and there's a point. And then it's very like his brand and all that, but at the same time, even that he turns into art. So like, where's the line? Where's the line, Nora? What are you doing? Where's the line here? I don't know. I am not immune to being in the box. Okay, and then these are my notes for Make Happy 2016. I'm sorry, I legitimately say things with title year as if the year is part of the title, and it's purely because I've had 1968. I've just started doing that with everything. So if you're bothered by that, shut up. This is my video. God, can you tell I've been watching a lot of Bo Burnham recently? Because like I'm like a sponge. Like, if you show me an artist, I will start emulating them. You should have seen me in the nudie suit. I did not fit. So right off the bat with the clown outfit, we're in monkey suits chained to an organ. We all know what that is. And then I loved the intro because it reminds me of like being, like I live in the Southwest. That's all I'm gonna say. And I used to live in New England. And it just reminds, I want to go back so bad. I miss it. It's just like the cloudy and the trees and like the wet pavement and the strangers looking at you all the time. I miss it. The narrator is back, and it's very 97 special. It's very the house is on fire laugh track. People are starving laugh track. He's literally screaming about how the meat freezer door locks, and everyone's like, yay, look, it's his bit. And that's the point. That's part of it. He wrote it into the script. Because if he does a comedy show and people start being sad, that is against the rules of what a comedy show is, and he knows that, and we know that, and I'm telling you, even though we both know that. Like, if I start saying this, and then you start laughing at things I say as if they're knock-knock jokes, I have failed, you know, and also you're stupid. There's a shot, where the camera's behind him looking out into the audience, and I got chills. I was like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I am definitely not a performer. This is like kind of the farthest I can go into performing, because it is a performance. Like, I know that you're here, and I usually don't talk this loud. I'm projecting right now. Yeah, being on stage behind him is a nightmare. I hate attention. He no longer looks like quite as much of a baby. And then there's a Frodis reference. Frodis is an illicit substance. And then I say, listen, I'm aware of my genre. I'm aware of the felicity conditions, but can I please see the contract again, Mr. Zero? So I've brought Mr. Zero up twice in 2 specials now. Do you think there's a theme there? Do you think like there's like a theme about like signing up for something before you really know what you're gonna lose? Like, do you think that there's anything to do with that? Like a deal with the devil type thing? Who's the devil? Do you think that like it had anything to do with him being like really young and not really knowing how to read the fine print yet? Do you think he didn't have a lawyer? Do you think I'm reading into things a little bit too much? Oh hey, stop participating. You love the him that belongs to you. This one is telling you he doesn't belong to you. This is a dangerous cognitive dissonance. People have been canceled over less. And then also he's like, hey, this was a lot of work. Don't ruin my song, man. The hero seems to be less afraid of slipping into obscurity, so he's less self-effacing this time. It's less, what is this kid doing, and more, this is what I'm doing. Which, good for him. Awesome. We love growth. He's more familiar with the audience as a character in this one. You can tell. Like, he's kind of He's less afraid of us, and he's more like, he's treating the audience in Make Happy as the narrator treated the hero in What? You know, you get what I'm saying. And you get it. I hope you do, because I lost it. Sometimes I say things and I'm like, this is genius, and then it's gone. Also, he's no longer in a t-shirt, thank the goddamn Lord. Also, like, it's a joke. The song is a joke. It's a comedy show, remember? I'm not, the audience is the dummy. That's what I just said. Thank you, Past Nora. And then I say that there's a nasty, nasty catch-22, pointing out the performance is part of the performance. It's just kind of an act all the way down until it isn't anymore. And then he says aloud exactly what I just said. Rude. I'm trying to be transformative here. Way to deplatform new creators. Breaking political commentary spotted in a funny haha show. And then in this special, there's a scene where the narrator calls him a slur that I'm not gonna say. And he's like upset about it, which is different from What? Because in What, he was kind of just like put down by the narrator, and he kind of folded. He was like a lamb. You know what I mean? And like in this one, he's like ugh, this guy, instead of like, oh sorry, I'll do it, you know. Where like he still has to do what the narrator says. Like the hero is not free of the shackles at all. Like, and he knows that, and he knows that we know that, and we know that he knows that we know that, all the way down. But, like, he still has to, like, get on his knees and look the narrator in the eye and do what he wants. But, like, he can be mad about it. Like, he has the power, at least, to be upset about it. Also, keep in mind that the narrator is him. And then I say, oh, you own yourself? You do? Huh? Then why are you here? Why are we here? The audience only shows up when you're selling something to them. And the quick shutdown retort is always, yeah, I know, obviously, which is the new calling himself out before anyone else can call him out. So in What, it was like, I'm going to say that I'm using autotune before you say that I am. And in this one, it's very, I'm going to say it's a joke before you know, disprove me or, like, find a fault in my logic or, like, you know, anything. He's just, like, really trying to prevent being called out, and so he's doing that by saying everything is serious until you don't like it, and then it was all just a joke. But it's all a joke and it's all serious. Like, that's kind of his brand. Yeah, I say, whichever thing they call you out for, you can always make them feel like the dummy by saying, yeah, obviously. How does he do it? How does he pretend to do it? Yeah, exactly. It's an act. We all know that. So why does he need to remind himself so often? He explains the joke. Yeah, we get it, bro. Artists are not the characters they perform. There's a line there. So where is it? Nora, where's the line? Where'd you put it? He hates the machine. Babe, I've got some bad news for you. You know how you heard that click when the door to the box closed? And then he talks about having your attention, which is a huge thing. This guy loves to talk about attention as currency. It's kind of like his thing. But I was like, yeah, I have 5 exclamation points here in my notes. I love a series of discrete bits. He says, like, every like bit is like kind of self-contained. Like, stop thinking that we're in the last bit. We've moved on now. And I'm like, I love a series of discrete bits. Tangentially related vignettes are my favorite. And then here's the catch-22 again. The act is always on, and he's always telling you how on the act is. Breaking the fourth wall so hard there's a crack in your TV screen now? Wow. Who wrote this? I don't love my fans. Icon. The thing is, though, that being aware of the danger doesn't stop it from happening. And knowing it's gonna hurt doesn't make it hurt less. And that being cruel to yourself first still won't protect you. He looks directly into the camera. Don't fall in love with me, because I'm already in love with you, and that's a dark path you don't want to go down. Don't listen to me. Fuck, dude, it's a joke. I'm a comedian. This is a bit. This is what I said earlier. I already said, I'm going to call myself annoying first. The next line that I have is, he's stuck in the box with himself and a camera. The panopticanonical idea of us. Do you think he's in love with the idea of angry is a safer thing to be than scared, especially for men? We've been here before, we've done this before. A front for the brand. Yeah, you told us that already. You don't trust us, the audience, as far as you can throw us, do you, hero? No, and I wouldn't either. I love clarifying and over-explaining. Hey, this guy is really relatable. Do you think that has anything to do with all the money he has now? It's a bit, guys. It's a joke. It's all about performing, he says at 46 minutes, and now he's just doing my job for me. It's very, Peter Tork, I got the millions to love me and it still wasn't all right. Very, very surprising, ha ha ha. I don't know the exact quote, but I think that's almost it. Like, it's so close to the exact quote that I'm mad that I didn't get it, and I want to redo it, but I'm already 30 minutes into this recording, and I'm not going to redo it. You're going to get what you get. Okay. All jokes aside, if you can live your life without having an audience, you should do it. That scared me. But at the same time, it's too late. The audience has been put into all of our heads. And he knows, and we know, and he knows that we know, and we know that he knows that we know. And then he says, like, I want a daughter so that I can have someone around the house who can reach into the Pringle can. That's kind of funny, but, like, it's the daughter thing. And it's the progressivist saying specifically, I want a daughter instead of a son, which is, I get what you're trying to say there, and I appreciate it to some extent, but, like, you're trying too hard, because putting us on a pedestal is also something that hurts and has hurt us for a long time. So just child, you know what I'm getting at. So when he talks about all the stuff not fitting into the burrito, that is the first time that I actually legitimately laughed. And then immediately he goes into, like, it reads as a panic attack to me. It really does, because there's blinding lights, which is a motif. Obviously, it's kind of a popular fame motif, but there's that classic one where all the spotlights are on his head. Blinding. And then he starts repeating a phrase, I don't know if I can handle this. I don't know if I can do this right now. I don't know if I can do this right now. I don't know if I can do. And that's exactly what I sound like when I'm having a panic attack. So that scared me. I had to turn it off and I had to take a walk. But he's still performing. And the fact that he's performing himself, playing himself, having a panic attack, is it any wonder? And then I wrote, hey, hey, mercy woman, plays a song and no one listens. The lighting design turns into a halo. The spotlight turns into a halo. And then I wrote, this bitch thinks he's a canonized fucking saint. And the part of me that isn't like, shut up, rich, skinny, pretty boy, is enthralled. That's so pathetic it makes me feel like a saint. Calm down, Nora. And then the last line is, I hope you're happy, which I was about to cry. But then there's actually a really uplifting final scene where he's literally in the box with himself and a camera. But then he, goes outside and, he has a wife and a dog, and it's like, it was all an act. So it was actually really uplifting. And then you have to remember that Inside comes next. But Inside also ends with, hey, I'm not actually, stuck, that's a character. Because the thing about this guy is he is not any of these characters. He's a person. And I'm not talking about a person, I'm only talking about his characters. I would never try to talk about an actual person. That's an overstep. I wrote down right here, he is not the hero. He's not. And he's not the narrator. And he's not the artist. And he's not the comedian. And he's not Robert. He's like a guy. He's just like a guy. And he's performing. That's the thing. Am I performing right now? I don't know. You tell me. Yes. And since I said that, yeah. Because as I am very wont to say, the presence of the audience... No. The presence of the artist necessitates the presence of the audience. No. Yes. So, the fact that I'm here means that you're here. And not me, the person in this room right now, but like me, the video on YouTube that you're gonna see once I edit this. Isn't this cool? I like this. Isn't this meta, dude? Bro. See, something about this brand of comedy just really reminds me of high school. And I had this friend who I'm gonna embarrass right now. They're not watching this. But she was really exactly like this guy in high school. Exactly. Like when I watch his old stuff, like what? I was like, that's my friend from high school. Like she used to act exactly like that. Same delivery, same like quick, all over the place, jumping from point to point, you know. Also very musically talented, it's really kind of uncanny sometimes, and maybe that's why I said baby boy evil. Cause yeah, it just reminds me of like a friend from high school. I don't know how to end this. I don't know how people end this. They probably write an ending. I didn't write any of this, but my notes are over. And let me know if you want to go through my notes from inside, because I have a lot, because I did that about a year ago now. And so they're like in my head. I could basically do it from memory, but I'm not going to do it right now because I need to keep an air of mystery. And I need to feed the dog. So